What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be putting you guys all onto a very unique but very lucrative business model that I've been doing for the last 6 or 7 months. And I shit you not, literally my second month, I did $15,000 in profit from completely scratch. Now, this is kind of similar to the traditional agency model or freelance brand scaling, but I've put a very unique twist towards the approach on how I run this, which has gotten me several clients paying me thousands of dollars every single month without a cold call, without ever running ads, without ever even having to go on a sales call. I started this with close to $0. I know it all sounds too good to be true. I'm not gonna keep overhyping it to the point where you guys think I'm just bullshitting, but genuinely, this is something no one else talks about that I wanted to share, and it'll all make sense in just a minute. All right, guys, so jumping straight into how I actually get clients that pay me thousands of dollars a month without ever getting on any sales calls, without ever cold calling anybody, without running a single ad. I'll basically show you exactly how I do it, how this model sort of works, and also, of course, proof, because none of this matters if I don't actually show proof. So I try in every single one of my videos to show varying sources of proof to actually show that I'm legit. So if you literally scroll through my content on my YouTube channel, you'll see proof from multiple different sources showing the exact same things that I always say. So just to take a look, so you'll see that these are all from one specific name each time. So first example, this is all ranging from, I recorded this a couple days after I put the presentation together. January 11th, I took these screenshots. It's the 14th right now. But either way, right? So you'll see within the last month, these are all transfers from one person. So you got 500 here, 400, 500, 500. We actually have 1,200 here. It gets cut off. 460, 360, 120, and obviously some more down there. So from this person alone, I made $5,000 in the month of, or I guess you could say within the last 30 days, give or take. Then here's just another one of these examples. Of course, not every single client is paying me this much, but I do have multiple across the board. So another one here. So we got 220, 140, 160, 50, 80, 160, 160, whatever. There's like maybe $1 or $2 in the last 30 days. Here as well, $1 or $2, a couple grand here. You also gotta take in the fact that I'm getting paid through payment processors a lot too. These are just strictly e-transfers, which is what we use in Canada a lot of the times for payments. So just to kind of show you a little bit of proof, there is a lot more. And like I said, I do post different varying sources of proof from my other videos. But here's sort of an idea that you can get. Again, this is like $5,000 in a single month off of one person. Okay. So the way the model actually works is we're essentially going to be combining two very popular ways of doing business and very varying, very different ways of actually running a business. And we're taking the pros from each one and sort of eliminating the cons and getting the best of both worlds, taking the benefits from each one and sort of combining it to a single model. Okay, so the models that I'm basically referring to are in-person businesses as well as the traditional agency route business sort of thing. So kind of just to explain, regular agency model basically includes you having to cold call or find clients however way possible, and then generating leads for that business or whatever other service you're going to be offering them in order for them to make money or an ROI off of you, right? So the cool thing about this is that, again, this is online. There's a ton of freedom. You could do this wherever you want, whenever you want. You're not like bound to anything, location, time, anything like that. And there's also a lot of scaling potential since you're working online. You could be working with businesses anywhere. There's enough businesses to scale to the moon, right? But the cons are, again, getting clients, right? If any of you've tried starting an agency before and like cold calling or cold DMing on Instagram or sending cold emails, like you'll understand how hard it is to even get somebody to book a meeting with you. It is very difficult, right? Or you can run ads towards your offer and you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars per call, right? Just to get on a sales call, you're paying hundreds of dollars. And of course, you don't know if these people are going to close even, right? So that's kind of the main con. It's hard to get clients. And then you still need somebody to fulfill the work. So after you spend all the back end time getting the client, doing everything, right? if you don't know how to actually do the service delivery yourself, you're going to need somebody else to do it. Or if you just can't manage it because your time, if you're running an agency, is probably going to be spent on doing these things, you won't even have time to do the service delivery, right? So now looking at an in-person business, well, basically, it sucks because it's not remote. You got to be there. There's no time freedom, there's no location freedom, and there's also a lot less scale to it because you're just bound to your location. You're, close proximity to yourself. You run, let's say, a contracting business, right, in Toronto. You're not gonna go anywhere else except for Toronto. So there's only a limited customer base and a limited market that you can reach. But the great thing is, if you know somebody who's like a contractor or like an electrician or whatever, like these people do not struggle getting clients. They do not struggle getting business. It's literally like super easy to get clients. And like no offense, but these people aren't usually the smartest, right? Like these guys know what they're doing in terms of their trade or whatever. But like they're not marketing experts or anything by any means. So it's super easy for them to get clients. They're not doing any cold calling or anything. Everybody's inbound. And there's high demand for these services. Like everybody needs a plumber, everybody needs an electrician, everybody needs a cleaner, everybody with a dog needs a dog groomer, everybody needs a barber. These are kind of just examples, but basically what we're doing is combining the pros and cons from each one and sort of running a hybrid model between the two. So this makes it really easy to get clients. You have all the location freedom, all the time freedom, all the scaling potentials that you need. And there's also really, really high margins in this, like genuinely really, really nice profit margins. Okay. So the way it kind of works is, again, like I said, we're basically combining the two. So we're going to be generating leads for an in-person service type business. So pretend we're actually starting, let's say, like a plumbing company. This is what I have mine set as under. I work with plumbers, right? So we're basically generating leads as if we are a plumbing company, right? So we're getting leads for this in service based business, in person service based business, which is super easy. Like I said, like there's no plumbers struggling to get clients unless they just suck, like genuinely. It's easy, right? It's undeniably really easy. And then we're having a third party company actually fulfill the work. So we're generating leads the easiest way possible. We're not doing any of the fulfillment, right? We're getting somebody else to do the fulfillment. But with an agency, you still usually need another person to do the fulfillment, whether it's like a freelancer or another agency that you're white labeling to. You still need somebody to take care of the thing, right? So what we're doing is just getting leads the easy way, getting somebody to take care of it, and literally finding somebody to do your work for you is, I mean, it's free money for them, right? Like they're otherwise paying for ads or paying for leads or just not getting the lead at all. So any company is going to take extra work, and typically you're going to get paid 40 to 60% of the profit from that lead that you generate, and the job that goes through that. For example, you have a plumbing company that you have, right, that you're generating leads for. Again, it doesn't actually have to be a plumbing company. You're just generating leads as if you are a plumbing company. So let's say you generate a lead, somebody calls, you book them in for a $1,000 drain snaking job, right? Let's say like all their drains are clogged, they need a snake to go through all their whatever, everything in their house. I don't know anything about plumbing, by the way, so it's kind of evident. But anyways, let's say that's kind of what happens, and they're gonna pay you $1,000 for it. You're usually gonna make around $400 from that job. And again, these leads are super easy to generate. You can get multiple a day. I'm telling you right now, I get 10 to 15 plumbing leads every single day. The average ticket for these plumbing jobs is around $800, and I close around half of those jobs that come in. So you can do the math. I'm getting around 5 jobs every single day, around $800 a piece, and I get around 30 to 40% every single time, right? Do the math yourself. I'll do it for you. I make like 20 to 30 grand a month in profit. So your only job is literally just to get leads for the easiest thing on the planet, right? Like this is way easier than cold calling. You don't have to run a single ad, and I'll show you how you're actually going to generate these leads really easily. It's honestly, you're doing the easiest task possible. Like, of course, there's some sort of level of barrier to entry for starting any business, but honestly, you're doing the literal easiest thing possible. in terms of business wise. And from there, you're just making money off of it, right? Because finding somebody to actually fulfill the work is super easy. And getting 40% margins on these jobs is not unrealistic at all. A lot of people will say, oh, you're not going to get 40%. I've gotten 60% margins off of some jobs. Okay. So totally untrue. And again, I'll show you exactly how you're going to do that, right? But it's very similar to the traditional agency model. It's just kind of reordered. So instead of getting a client, promising them leads, and then getting them leads, whatever, right? You're basically getting them leads up front and then getting the client itself. I mean, it's just a walk in the park because the results are already there, right? So you're switching the order in a way that makes it better for the client because they don't have to guess, oh, my $2,000 a month retainer is going to whatever X amount of leads that I don't even know if I'm going to get. So it's way harder to close somebody because, again, they don't even have any clue whether you're going to actually provide the results that you promise, right? And second of all, you're making it easier for yourself. It's so much easier to get leads for an in-person service-based business that there's thousands of calls no matter where you're from. Every given single day, there's thousands of calls for these kinds of services, right? They're needed. So it's way easier than signing a client on like a 2,000 a month retainer. And it's also just better for everybody. So that's kind of how it works. It's just a sort of reorder sort of way. And then essentially how you're going to set it up is same as always, right? If you're starting an agency or any sort of business, you kind of want a niche or a category to get into. So I recommend always higher ticket home services, something like plumbing, electrical, HVAC, those kinds of things. Those are typically going to be your easiest and highest paying ones because, again, very high demand and jobs can be up to thousands of dollars in which you are going to print, right? If you're getting 40% commission off of a $9,000 job, which is literally something that happened in like a month ago. I got 40% off of a $9,000 job. After material costs and everything, I made like 25%. Still, right? Like I answered a call one time. Actually, my VA answered the call. This is when I still had VAs, and I just made like 2 grand, like just like that. Like literally, it was so easy. Um, so literally that's pretty much the best sort of niche to get into in my opinion. But you can also work with people like lawyers, and then also like other mobile services like car detailing. Now car detailing is the first that I ever did. It's definitely the easiest, from what I tried. Like generally, like you can get leads within 2 days. Literally I could start a detailing thing from in a week from now. I'll have a booked out calendar. It's so easy. So these are kind of the ways that you can sort of look at it and how you're going to select your niche and the people that you want to work with. But I usually will recommend the higher ticket home services. I do plumbing, for example, like I said many times, but this is what I recommend. Okay, and then this is kind of where the reordering comes in. As you can see this diagram. So again, like I said, instead of finding clients and then getting them leads, you're just getting the leads and the clients will basically come to you. So you're literally just eliminating one hard part of the process. So the way you're actually going to get leads, and this is in my opinion the best way, way better than running any ads. Of course, you can run Google ads. I know a guy who specifically does this exact same thing with Google ads, and he does really well. But I personally use a method called Google My Business. Okay. And so essentially this is the results for businesses when you search up for a specific service. Let's say you're looking for a plumber and you're located in Seattle, right? You'd search up plumber near me or plumber in Seattle, and a list of businesses will show up. And then from there, you'll actually know. So the top ones that usually show up at the very top, those are sponsored results. Google ads, like I was saying, those people pay a good amount of money to show up there, actually a lot of money. And each time they get a call, they owe Google money, right? What I do is I actually get these ranked up at the top organically. And a lot of people think this is really hard. Genuinely, you can get a page up ranking top 3 within a week. Any industry, anywhere you need. I have a ton of videos on how to rank these pages. It's so easy to get them to the top. And once they're at the top, again, you pay $0 to get this page up. You pay $0 per call, and they're getting calls consistently forever as long as they stay up, right? So the best way by far to generate leads. It's super easy. You can get a ton of leads for free. And I have a ton of videos going over if you guys want to check out some of those other ones on the channel. Also subscribe to me, by the way. I'm going to throw that in there in case you forgot to. So that's how you're gonna get all of the leads. And then you need to find somebody to fulfill the work. Again, you could say this is kind of like finding your client. Super easy. Literally anybody would be down for it. Well, not anybody. There's a certain way that you want to do it. But if you reach out to three people, I guarantee one will say yes, right? And it's very simple. You just reach out to somebody. Again, I usually literally just use Google My Business to find the business, and I'll find somebody with only a couple reviews that maybe out there, but it's kind of clear that they're not super out there. They might not get a ton of business. They might be an individual sort of worker person or whatever. Maybe they're old. They only rely on referrals, something like that. And you're basically going to pitch them the idea like, hey, I'm going to handle all the marketing, everything, blah, blah, blah. All you got to do, show up to the job, get it done, give me 40%. Easy. Most people will say yes, especially like boomers who have no experience with tech or anything like that. They will eat that shit up. You're literally doing the thing that they hate doing the most. And it's really easy. All of that stuff is so easy. You can outsource it to a virtual assistant for $4 an hour, and they will take care of every single thing possible. Literally everything. Okay. So that's kind of how you're going to find the client. And then finally, you're going to get paid, right? So again, usually clients going to pay you through your company, right? Again, this doesn't even actually have to be set up as a company. All it is a Google business listing, which anybody can put up, right? So they're basically calling the business that's listed. That's going to be you who owns the business. Again, you don't actually have to have like a registered company or anything. It's just a listing on Google. Think about it sort of like if you had, I'm trying to think of a good example. I don't know, let's say you post YouTube videos like I do, right? If somebody's reaching out to you through a YouTube video, it's like they're just reaching out to you. You just have a channel. That's all it is. Kind of like like having a YouTube channel. Same sort of idea, right? Except for it's for a business. Now, technically, you're supposed to have that business registered and stuff, but you don't actually need to. And I show how you can actually list it. So basically, yeah, you're going to get paid through your company, right? Which again, I just said this like 4 times. It doesn't actually have to be real. And then you're going to get more bookings by opening up more of these locations. And then you're going to expand into different cities, and you're going to expand into different categories. So if you're doing it with plumbers, you can go ahead and do it with electricians. And that's kind of how you scale. And again, there's literally infinite potential to scale from there. All you got to do is add more things. And that's essentially the way it works. Again, it's sort of just a reorder of the traditional business model that an agency would do, where they would find a local business and then generate them leads. We're actually just generating leads and then finding someone to fulfill it. Like I said, generating those leads is literally a walk in the park. It is so easy. I cannot stress how easy it is. I get hundreds of leads every single day across these different businesses. Maybe not hundreds, but dozens of leads every single day. And like I said, my second month from completely scratch, I hit 15K in profit. So again, that's kind of a basic run through of the business. Now, the main hardest part is obviously the lead generation. It's pretty easy, but it is the hardest part of it all. So I have a ton of videos going over that. I'm gonna link. I'll just put them somewhere on the screen when the video is ending, and you can take a look at those. But that is about all. Again, if you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and just comment in the comment section. I'll try to get back to everybody. And then I will also leave a link to book a call with me if you're interested in setting this up for yourself. I've done really well with this, made multiple six figures at 19. I also have helped other people do the same thing. So I'm going to leave a link to book a call with me where I can sort of go through this more in depth with you if you are looking to set this up, sort of come up with like a game plan and a little strategy, and then obviously pitch my paid services, which is kind of just like a coaching sort of program. But yeah, call link in the description. I also have a school community for like very basic beginner stuff if you want to start getting this going. Just as a beginner, I'll leave the school community there as well, and then I'll leave my Instagram if you want